the map and try and kill everything that you have before you kill mine.
Yeah, well, I mean, from seeing his style both before and today, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. He gets to a certain point in the game where he's just like, I'm taking all the bases on the map.
Yeah.
And that's the point when you can start to decide to be inefficient in your trades, you know? I mean, it's just, I'm going to make 30 Zerglings and just send them out, and they kill things great. If they don't, I've got a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So it looks like both players are ready. We're going to be starting the game here. So this is going to be a quick one as we are ready to start. Countdown has begun. This is going to be Derelict Watcher.
And this is game number 2 in a best of 3 between Spiderslayer and Yoshi. You are watching the Youmacon Detroit Anime Convention's StarCraft 2 tournament. And this is the winner's bracket.
Yep. In the lower left-hand corner, wearing the yellow trunks is going to be our victor from last game. He is Spiderslayer.
And in the top right corner, wearing the purple trunks and representing the Terran race, it is Yoshi.
I thought Yoshi was green.
Well, it depends on what kind you get.
That's true.
There's actually so many different types.
Right, when you play multiplayer, you do get a pink Yoshi, don't you?
Well, I mean, it just depends on what iteration of the Mario games you're playing. In Yoshi's story, there's like every color. So, there's that.
There is that. So this is this is probably one of my favorite maps, although I probably say that about every map.
I think that you do. I think that you've said that about every map that we've seen.
I in particular like this map because of the style that I like to play. We haven't seen many Protoss lately, but just the bases here are close enough by air that you can defense them pretty well. I actually find that it's... I've been playing a lot of Terran lately because I'm 3 levels away from getting my level 90, so... I've been playing those Terrans to get those levels that I need, and I actually find as Terran it's quite hard to defend those expansions as well as definitely as Protoss, but as Zerg as well. But it looks like there's a drone in here going to be harassing this SCV here. 2 more SCVs are pulled to try and deal with it, but he might just get the kill. It was close.
Down to 5. Spiderslayer looks like he is moving his drone out to expand now. Got the money, and there goes the little ghost graphic. But there is a barracks going down for Yoshi, so it looks like he is doing a little bit more, safer of an opening.
Spiderslayer really enjoying that that drone harassment there is really causing some trouble for Yoshi. If nothing else, it just keeps you focused on what's going on, and he's actually had a few SCVs that haven't been mining throughout this whole process.
Yeah, Spiderslayer really wants to grab that low HP SCV, but it's not going to happen. So now it looks like Yoshi is getting ready to build his command center at the natural. And we do see the spawning pool going down with gas shortly following it from Spiderslayer's end of the map.
I think this is the first time we've seen a Terran actually build their expansion at the expansion. I think every game so far today has been an in-base.
Well, you know, that's not that's a safe play when you do it in-base like that. But I mean, you can get your economy jump-started a little bit quicker if you put it directly there because you can start mining as soon as it's finished. So
yeah. Yoshi does come in and see the pool that is about to finish as well as the gas is going down, so he'll know that speed is not too close but not too far. Also sees that hatch at the natural that is completed. Mm-hmm. Queen's coming out immediately as that spawning pool is finished, so Spiderslayer will be getting his larva production in gear. Overlord hanging out over the third base of Yoshi as well.
Bunker going down at the base of, or the top of the natural ramp, so he's going to be able to defend that, and that's, you know, pretty standard getting that there so that those lings have a harder time getting in, and he'll probably build a wall around that at some point.
Absolutely. Double gas as well from Yoshi, so he's going to be getting some tech out pretty quick. Likely see a starport. That SCV is fairly low health. I just saw him. He's got band-aids all over him, but he is doing his job.
Spiderslayer doing a bit of a deviation from what we've seen from him so far in getting the Roach Warren right away. He doesn't have any Zerglings on the map just yet. Or, I'm sorry, there's 2 Zerglings running across the map to do some scouting, but definitely not the focus of his play today.
These are going to run headlong into this bunker, not get anywhere. They will just run up and see that there is an expansion there that's converging into a orbital command. That energy is spent instantly on a mule. So we're going to see, I mean, Spiderslayer's played so many games so far today that have gone so long. I mean, could he be starting to get tired of that and just want to go for a, a quick quick win here.
Yeah, this looks like a massive roach rush is what he's going for here.
And also, I mean, if you've been watching Spiderslayer's games, you could know that, you know, how the games have been going along. So it might be considered a deviation that he goes for a big, strong push like this, because Yoshi, quite honestly, does not have a whole heck of a lot here. Just now starting 2 Hellions, which are going to have a bit of a rough time against this many roaches.
Yeah, so at this point, all Yoshi really needs to do is just try and hold this off. This is going to be very difficult for Spiderslayer to come back from if he does lose everything. So Yoshi is getting that wall going, but he's going to have to be prepared here. With just Hellions and Marines, though, he's going to have a harder time dealing with this. He needed to get some Marauders.
Aside from that, there's just, the Hellions are going to come out. They see the roaches coming in. Oh, but there's almost little point in coming back, as those Hellions are just going to go right down.
Oh no, Yoshi, what are you doing? All the SCVs go on the outside of the wall. They were supposed to be repairing on the inside. The wall goes back up, but he did lose some SCVs that he probably didn't need to early on there.
And now those roaches are actually targeting down the SCVs repairing, so he's doing a lot of damage here, not to the bunker, but to the economy. He is targeting the bunker now. One Marauder does come out.
But all the SCVs that were repairing have died, and that bunker gets evacuated. Yoshi pulling back up to his ramp, and it looks like he's going to let that orbital command finish and then lift right on up.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say there before this Hellions came out is, in building this wall, there's a lot of supply depots here. So if he takes this out, that's 400 minerals that he has to spend again to get that supply back, let alone the time to build them.
Right, and being supply blocked during that time.
So, Yoshi pulls back into his main base, that's fine, but he's going to take a big hit by just losing these supply depots.
Absolutely. 2 mines are going to the base, or the top of the ramp of Yoshi, so they will be there for those roaches when they're all bunched up on that ramp, so that could be some good mine shots. And we've seen mines do a decent amount of damage to roaches today.
Yeah, so now Yoshi is supply blocked by quite a bit here. He does have 2 supply depots in production. Those mines are going to get pretty big hits on those roaches, but roaches being pretty beefy. There are 2 Marauders in that bunker as well.
So those roaches are going to fall at this point, but he did get a decent amount of damage done throughout that. Terran has lost about 1,500 resources versus the 1,000 for Zerg.
Yeah, so now Yoshi is going to move on back out, but if he had a plan, that plan is kind of hindered a bit here. But he is getting blue flame going down now.
Oh, no.
More Hellions coming out, and the Spire is almost done from Spiderslayer, and he's starting to bank up that gas.
Yeah, that was what I was reacting to there, is seeing that Spire. So Yoshi is not going to have the infrastructure to really deal with this. He's getting tanks, he's getting Hellions, he's got Marauders. Not really making many Marines. I don't think there's he's got. Yeah, there's no engineering bay in sight.
He did have a armory going down. Okay, there it is. He does have an armory going down, so it looks like he's going to be transitioning into Thors after these Hellions, potentially. But now there are 9 Mutalisks in production, about to pop.
Yeah, and that Hellion's just not going to be there on time. 2 Hellions are running into the mineral line, but the Queen is there to greet them.
And, he's going to be completely unaware of this until the Mutalisks come out.
Yeah, so they do clean up that Hellion, but there are a lot of Mutalisks on the map, 9 in that bunch and 3 more on the way.
His reaction to that was immediately 1 Thor, 2 mines.
And those mines can be very useful against the Mutalisks if you can get a couple of them chain shooting on them.
Yeah, but as you've seen, they do take a bit of time to burrow. So, if you're the very speedy Mutalisk, you can just kind of, micro away from them enough. Turret's going down now, but he doesn't know there's... Oh, nice. I don't know if that was an accident or not, but he did kind of accidentally have 2 mutas kind of go ahead of the rest of the pack that soaked up that mine shot.
2 mines are going down, and he just decides to get out of there before they finish burrowing, and he's going straight for all these workers, but there's 2 turrets already complete there, so he's going to back up.
Oh, and that errant Thor shot going after the larger group of mutas actually did save 1 towards the back there, but mutas do heal so fast. They're already getting back into the orange. The ones that were in the red, and the yellows are almost green again. So Spiderslayer once again just going to be stacking up the mutas. 6 in production, plus 1 air flyer attack upgrade is in production as well. And behind it, melee upgrades.
Yeah, he's getting a Baneling nest. He's getting that. Going to be having those Banelings a little bit faster than they did in the previous game. I think that he is anticipating this Thor response.
Yeah, he did tell us at one point in one of our interviews that he likes to do this muta and then just get to the point where he's got a lot of money and can just make basically nothing but Banelings.
He did say that was specifically his idea versus Protoss. Does load up 2 Hellions or Hellbats into a medevac as these Mutalisks come in, and the Thors are there to greet them along with some turrets, so they are forced to retreat.
But Spiderslayer does now have 3 functional bases and a Spine Crawler and Spore Crawler now in the backs to be able to kind of deflect those drops if they were to come out. But that likely won't be too much, as we're seeing a lot of mech out of Yoshi again. It is supply blocked as well. There's 2 Thors queued up at 1 factory.
Yoshi's drop is going towards the main of Spiderslayer. There isn't really any infrastructure there to be able to thwart this away, so those Hellbats are going to be able to drop. He's boosting in past the Queen, and they drop immediately. They're going to get a lot of kills on these drones here as they are blue flame, and the drones are forced to run out of there.
Yeah, and he also sees the timing on that hive there as well.
Mutas are running back to try and deal with this because there's not a whole lot of units at home to be able to handle it.
I mean, those Hellbats are, you know, just kind of hanging out, basically. I mean, there's a couple drones that popped out they did get kills on, but now the Mutas do clean it up. The drones come back to work, but...
You know, and that I think that is exactly what Yoshi wanted to do, is it forced those Mutas back home. He didn't have the infrastructure there in the main to deal with it, and that leaves the pressure off of Yoshi for a little bit of time so that he can get his infrastructure back up, and sure enough, behind this, he's getting 2 more factories. He's going to go into heavy Thor production at this point.
This is really interesting to see because we just don't see this type of play against Zerg so much. I mean, he's got 2 factories producing and 2 more in production, producing Hellbats and Thors basically as his army. I mean, we don't have any tanks in the field. There's just a lot of turrets, a lot of Hellbats, a lot of Thors.
Yep. Spiderslayer does have some Overlords positioned in strategic spots so that he knows exactly when more expansions go down. He's really keeping Yoshi on 2 base. And those Mutas are continuing to be active, trying to pick off anything that he can, and it looks like Yoshi is going to try and take that 3rd base, but the Mutas are positioned, getting ready to do it.
Yeah, right now he's just kind of going to be flipping into expansion deny mode. What I was talking about earlier, you know, at this point, especially with this slow army that Terran has, it's going to be tough for him to expand.
Oh, and there's the magic box over those Thors. 1 Thor falls. Oh, the Mutas are bunching up a little bit, so they're taking a little bit more damage now. And there's some pretty heavy oh, that was a great lift up by that boosted medevac. He does drop it before the medevac falls. Great play by Yoshi.
Yeah, it was also a good choice by Spiderslayer to get out of there and not push in any farther because his Mutas were starting to get a little bunched up. But, I mean, now Yoshi's going to be in a tough spot because he's just not going to be able to get out of his base.
Oh yeah, I mean this is looking similar to the last game that we saw where Spiderslayer really just plays the contained game at this point. He really is trying to deny that 3rd base, and I imagine that Yoshi's got to be getting very frustrated. You know, the Overlord is already dumping creep where he wants to go, so even if he does manage to get a foothold there, he's got to wait for the creep to recede in order to land it. And he doesn't want to try and take that other expansion, as it is kind of it's a decent walk, you know, and when you've got a slow army, the only real option for a 3rd base is where Spiderslayer's just kind of camped out at.
He does get a scan down in the main base, sees the warbling Ultralisk cavern there.
He sees the Greater Spire. Yeah. So this is looking very similar, and Yoshi's got to be feeling kind of irritated that, you know, this game is playing out so similar to the first game.
And the Corruptor's in production as well. I mean, those are going to be a little bit useful if the Ravens step out a little bit, but also he's going to use those for Broodlords as soon as he gets ready. But also, you know, the 3/3 melee upgrades are, not complete. Chitinous Plating and Adrenal Glands coming down. 2/2 upgrades about to finish. But so he's going to have Adrenal Glands and 2/2. Usually that's something you end up getting after 3/3, so maybe he ended up skipping that a little bit. But now he's going to attempt to take this 3rd. Spiderslayer is going to need to stop this, because if Yoshi's allowed to take that 3rd base, that's where Spiderslayer is going to run into trouble.
Spiderslayer is still expanding like a madman, though. He is taking 2 more bases and has Lings. He's got Mutalisks. He's trying to get in to do some damage here, but this is not a good engagement for him. He needs to get out of there.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know, as these Terran units are quite beefy, so that if he's allowed to get enough Thors...
And Lings are running into the main right now, as you're saying. And they are trying to do any infrastructure damage that they can, and that's going to force all of the army of Yoshi again back in to try and deal with this, but that leaves the Mutalisks able.
If these Lings could take out both of these armories now, it looks like he is starting to target those as they're coming in. I'm like, if he's going to go for anything, he needs to get those armories down. That'll stop the Thor production and allow him to really get ahead. And it looks like he is going to be able to take both of those out before anything gets back. That's going to be a huge problem for Yoshi.
That does hurt a lot. The Mutalisks are now moving in, trying to deny that 3rd base, but he put down point defense drones and has the Thor is there, so he's doing a better job of splitting up his army this time. Those point defense drones doing a great job of protecting his Thors.
Yeah, sending back pretty much only the Hellbats. It did take out a turret with a single Zergling there just because the Hellbats were on instruction to do otherwise, but nothing mining now in the main base. The natural really isn't mining anything either. A lot of SCVs are
remote mining,
working their way between the third and the natural there. Huge mule down. That looks like, what, 8 mules? So that's going to be a lot of income for Yoshi there. But now, as you said, the two additional bases from Spiderslayer are complete. 18 drones in production, Broodlords in production, +2 air attack, +3 melee going down.
And the mutas are going into the main, getting chased out by a couple of burrowed mines, though.
So I like how Spiderslayer has kind of stopped making mutas now, and now he's just building up his real strong Ultralisk, Ling, etc. army.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of late game units. He's got Broodlords, he's got Corruptors. He's prepared. You know, it looks like he's made a lot more Corruptors this time in comparison to the Broodlords. He doesn't want to get into the same position as he did the last game, but there's nowhere near as many Ravens on the map as there were before. Many more Hellbats instead.
Yeah, and those Hellbats could be fairly useful against these Broodlings here, but it looks like Raven coming in trying to get a... Looks like they were trying to do a Hunter-Seeker missile on those Broodlords, but didn't quite get it off.
That Thor is taking some heavy damage from these Broodlings here.
Yeah, now there's also Zerglings in the main base, taking down some infrastructure here. Mines being brought back to deal with that, but that's...
He's got a burrow. They're just kind of walking around getting killed, and that's no good. I mean, he just can't afford to lose these types of things right now, but I mean, where he's supply blocked at 111 of 89, he's going to have a hard time coming back from this while Spiderslayer's at 2,000.
Lings are literally everywhere, and this is the point where Yoshi lifts up his entire base and takes it with him and attacks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we saw from him last game.
Oh, but look at all the Corruptors from Spiderslayer. Spiderslayer doesn't... Oh, and the Ravens getting caught off guard by those Corruptors. They are taking a lot of hits, but killing those Ravens is a huge problem. Yeah,
exactly. He's not going to be able to reinforce those as his supply continues to dwindle. There are a couple of Vikings and Thors, but, you know, I don't know how on the map, but, I mean, Spiderslayer's re-maxing with Ultralisks at this point, so I don't know how Yoshi comes back from this.
And one of those Thors is pretty low, and those Ultralisks are going to be 3-5 right now with the extra 2 armor with the Chitinous Blade. And the Muta is going to fly right over the Thors. They are magic box, but still, that's a lot. That's not a trivial number of Thors for their just taking pot shots at the Mutas will get a lot of kills, but I mean, looking at the units, as 85 drones for Spiderslayer, so he's going to be able to make whatever he wants right now.
He absolutely is, and he's choosing to make Zerglings and Ultralisks, which is going to do fairly well against this army. Those Hellbats might tear through those Zerglings, but if he's able to get those Baneling hits on them, which are morphing right now, or get those Ultralisks tanking in front, then that's going to be pretty good.
And here comes all the Baneling, plus the Spine Crawlers going down out front.
And those Mutalisks are going to intersect with these mines. It looks like he's going to try and pick some of them off. 1, 2, 3 fall, and then they burrow. Doesn't look like any shots go off.
Didn't want to take the extra risk at getting there, but they do unburrow. And here's the big engagement. The Ultralisk coming in. Banelings coming in and hitting a lot of the Hellbats. They fall so fast.
Everything is getting destroyed here, and Yoshi should be expecting to GG any moment now.
And there's the GG. Great games by both players. I mean, that was absolutely entertaining to watch.
Absolutely.
I mean, both players, both games are fairly similar. I mean, Spiderslayer changed it up a bit, but Yoshi definitely has a style that he likes against Zerg, and it's very strong considering how weak people think mech is sometimes, and I was very impressed by it. You could tell what was in his head and what he wanted to do. The Ravens are just the most underused unit in the game. I love seeing Raven play. It's so cool.
Yeah, he was making good use of them in both of those games. Unfortunately, he just was not able to get out of the box that Spiderslayer was containing him in. He could not expand when he needed to, and therefore he got bled out. He just couldn't continue the aggression or continue the defense because Spiderslayer plays a very contained style. And his whole job and his whole mindset is just to bleed you dry.
Yep. So that was a couple of great games. We're going to have an interview with Spiderslayer to wrap it up here. We're going to take a brief break before that interview, and then we're going to have our next match set up. And if I'm looking at the bracket, I can tell you that our next match is going to be Winter versus... Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Winter versus ARD. There you have it. So we will be right back.
Thanks.